Welcome to the deep dive. We're here to really cut through the noise and get straight to what matters. Today, we are taking a really interesting plunge into the Mises browser. You might have heard of it. It's a mobile Web3 browser that's definitely making some waves. Our source material for this is drawn from detailed excerpts, specifically from Mises browser, Web3 extensions, and ads explained. So what's the plan? What's our mission today? We're going to unpack what this Mises browser actually is. We'll explore its core features, its unique Web3 stuff, the extension support, which is pretty big. And then, this is important, we'll dig into its maybe slightly surprising relationship with advertising.
Yeah, in this deep dive, it really sets the stage. We're exploring how a tool that promises to be like a gateway to Web3, which, often implies a more user-controlled, maybe less centralized feel.
Yeah.
How it actually balances those ideals, balances them with the very real realities of online monetization. We'll definitely look at its strengths, but also the more nuanced bits about its ad integration, things you might not expect up front.
Okay, great. So to kick us off, what exactly is the Mises browser trying to be? How does it sort of position itself in this mobile Web3 space?
Right. So at its core, the description is pretty clear. A mobile Web3 browser. It's designed, they say, to combine speed, security, and importantly, robust support for browser extensions. And all this with a clear focus on a decentralized web experience, Web3. Think of it like your main door to the Web3 world, but built specifically to get you there from your phone.
Okay, that makes sense. A dedicated portal. And speaking of Web3, what are some of those foundational bits, the things that make it actually function as a Web3 browser?
Yeah, you've hit on a key point there. It's engineered specifically to support Web3 wallets, which means you can manage your crypto assets directly, connect pretty seamlessly to various dApps, decentralized applications. And something else that's pretty important for navigating this decentralized web is its support for multi-chain DID. That's decentralized identifier domain name resolution. So it handles popular ones like ENS, unstoppable domains, and .bit. Makes things feel a bit more intuitive.
That Web3 side sounds solid.
Yeah.
But, it's a crowded browser market out there. What's the really unique thing about Mises, especially on mobile? What's its hook?
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting, I think. What truly sets it apart, especially for mobile, is that major selling point. It can support most Chrome extensions.
Yeah.
Right there on your phone. And this isn't just some, neat party trick. It's incredibly useful, particularly for Web3 extensions. Think MetaMask, that's the classic example. Suddenly you can interact with decentralized services, manage assets, things you usually needed a desktop for. It really does kind of change the game for what we expect from mobile browsing in that space.
Yeah, that extension support is huge for mobile. And building on that idea of user empowerment, functionality, security has to be key, right? Especially in Web3. What's Mises doing there?
Absolutely critical, yes. So the Mises browser uses specific security measures. They talk about preventing phishing attacks. They do this through a whitelist system, apparently. And they also mention actively partnering with security companies to enhance that protection. The goal is, obviously, to give you more peace of mind when you're navigating Web3.
Right. Peace of mind is good. And what about user identity? I saw something about a truly decentralized account system. Can you unpack that a bit? What does that mean for us using it? Why is it important?
Yes, definitely. So it uses a user system that's based on something called Mises ID. They describe it as a unique, secure, private identification system. And it's built directly on their own chain, the Mises chain. Now, the really key part here, they emphasize, is that ownership of this ID belongs completely to you, the user, and the browser explicitly states it does not collect any of your personal information via this ID.
That sounds, almost too good to be true today, doesn't it, with all the data collection? Are there any, catches or complexities with that no personal information claim we should maybe think about?
Well, it's a strong claim. And to sort of bolster that, to build transparency and trust, they point out the browser is 100% open source. Plus, it's built on the Chromium kernel. That's the same open source base as Chrome and other browsers. So it offers a familiar, pretty robust foundation. And that open source nature, allows anyone to scrutinize the code. That's a pretty significant factor in potentially verifying claims like that. Community trust is big there.
Okay, open source, Chromium base, user-owned ID, claims of no personal data collection. Now, given all of the focus on decentralization, user ownership, privacy, this next bit might raise an eyebrow or two. The Mises network, which is behind the browser, explicitly states on its Google Play Store page that it does contain ads. How does that square with the core Web3 principles they seem to be promoting?
Right. And this is where it gets fascinating. Because the app's data safety information, clarifies this a bit further. It actually indicates the browser may collect certain data, specifically user IDs and app interactions. And the stated purpose includes advertising or marketing. So this shows a pretty clear intent on some level to monetize through advertising. It really highlights that ongoing tension, doesn't it, between those, decentralized, user-centric ideals of Web3 and the very real need for sustainable ways to fund these projects, especially in a world that still leans heavily on ads.
Yeah, that tension is clear. And a user review actually from the Google Play Store seems to really reinforce this point. This user specifically noted that the built-in ad blocker in Mises browser doesn't seem to work very well.
Okay. And that insight is absolutely vital here, because did that same user offer any kind of solution?
They did, actually. They suggested that users could just install alternative ad blocking extensions. They mentioned uBlock Origin specifically to deal with the ads.
Perfect. That's a crucial point because it suggests that, okay, well, the Mises network might indeed include its own ad network. Users aren't completely powerless. They still have some recourse. And what's really insightful here, I think, is connecting the dots. Even when a platform branding itself as decentralized includes a seemingly centralized monetization tactic like ads, the user's ultimate control might actually come from the open nature of the web itself. Being able to layer on your own solutions like uBlock Origin. It's almost like a decentralized countermeasure to the browser's built-in monetization path. It's quite layered.
So let's try and summarize this deep dive then. The Mises browser, it definitely presents itself as a compelling mobile entry point to Web3. It offers that unique Chrome extension support on mobile, which is a big plus, and these decentralized identity features. That really sets it apart. However, it's also navigating this complex reality of ad integration, which means users might need to take their own steps, install their own blockers for a truly ad-free experience. It really showcases that tension, doesn't it, between the Web3 ideals and the real-world economics.
Exactly. And the key takeaway here for you listening is that really understanding the full picture of any tool labeled decentralized, it requires looking closely. How does it actually sustain itself? How is it funded? And maybe most importantly, what degree of control does it truly offer you over your digital experience? Even if sometimes that control comes from using, external tools layered on top.
It definitely leaves us with something to think about. A provocative thought, perhaps. What does this Mises browser model, embracing core Web3 principles like decentralization and user ownership, but also incorporating network-level advertising? What does that tell us? What might it signal about the future landscape of the decentralized web? Is this sort of mix a necessary compromise maybe for wider adoption, get more people using these tools, or does it just highlight the ongoing, maybe inherent challenges in achieving truly ad-free, user-controlled digital spaces? Something to mull over until our next deep dive.